Truthfully.
I'm here today with Gary, Charlotte, George and myself to talk about Evaluation Question 3. We are here with our one and only fan. George, what is Evaluation Question 3?
What have we learned from our audience feedback?
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about today is meanings and how they could have got confused. Our video, or the song, is quite somber, and so we tried to use the video or we're trying to make the video a similar sort of thing to that. Apparently, the song is about Jeff Buckley's death, and so without ripping it off directly, we tried to make the video have that sort of thing with it. So
we use things that represent death and have pragmatic implications of death in general.
Internal conflict, that was what I was thinking of. Internal conflict and the contrast between life and death. So black and white is obviously quite a major contrast that is often associated with life and death. We've got certain things in there, such as the mirrored shots could help with that, looking back into death, or
Charlotte under the sheet.
Yeah, Charlotte under the white sheet at the start, and the ants underground. It's all very. It's got that sort of feeling. The rose was one thing that we picked up, which the roses can be used as a symbol of love, which is quite happy, I guess. But also mourning. So you've got the rose petals, which are all lovely and red, and then you've also got the spikes, which really hurt. And death and that sort of thing. That's all I have to say. My next one is constructive criticism of the video. I've got some stuff here. So Charlotte, after the video was put on YouTube, asked some people 4 questions. The first one is, what do you think of the overall music video? Some of the answers we got were I thought it was eerie, but it worked with the tune of the song. I loved it. The black and white effects really worked, which is going again with the whole black and white contrast of life and death. I thought it was good because it was filmed outside and looked professional. That's just, I'm pretty pleased with that. Yeah, we'll take that. It was okay. Some shots could have looked more well done, however. That sounds like we're talking about steak. I don't know how we could have done our shots any better. Obviously, we didn't have the most professional equipment, but I think we got the most out of what we had.
Yeah.
So
there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, we used the slider, but because the ground was not level, we had to improvise and use 2 bricks to sort of make.
There was quite a lot of improvisation with equipment, wasn't there?
Yeah, we used, I think, the tripod as a sort of
But then
slider.
that was all due to the setting, wasn't it? Because it was outside and in a field, it wasn't on level field.
But instead of just choosing somewhere easier after that, we kind of overcome the problem.
Yeah.
Question 2 is, who do you think the target audience even of this video is?
I can repeat that.
Who do you think the target audience of this video is? One person says, I think it's aimed at 20 to 30 year olds because it's a slower paced song.
I don't know, like, I get what they're saying, especially as when the song came out, them 20 to 30 year olds would have been our age and younger, sort of thing.
Gothic.
So if it is for the original fans, then really they're about 40 now.
Another person said, maybe people of every age, as it shows younger people, but is an older looking style of video.
Yeah, I liked that feedback purely because that is kind of what we tried to portray, because obviously we had to get younger looking people in the video because it was us. But the song is, 20 years old in the next few years or whatever. So,
but I think we were kind of making it a bit more modern. Because the original video, I don't know why anyone would watch it, because for anyone that hasn't seen it, can't see myself now, it's a fetus in a womb singing. The last thing someone said was, young people like me would like this because it features teenagers and the song holds meaning to it. I don't know if I'm a very fan of that, because I don't think we were trying to give someone a meaning. There is a theory for this. I can't slip my mind now. When someone takes what you want, reception theory. That's the one. We wanted people to make their own theories of it and not have to be spoon-fed ideas
like
or our ideas. Like hypodermic needle and all that. Yeah. But I think the target audience really is quite wide.
Yeah, we do.
It's just like the song genre, it appeals to a bit of everyone just because the genre of the song and the music video are an eclectic mix of all different.
So it's a great revision
song. Sort of music, and I listen to that sort of music sort of thing.
But,
it works.
So obviously you've got the sort of hip hop, Massive Attack, and you've got the rocky, shoegazy. There's Elizabeth Fraser.
Love a bit of shoegaze.
Okay, so the third question was, what were your favourite and least favourite moments of the video? One person said, my favourite was a mirrored effect of the girl, but I didn't really like the beginning. I can only think that's because it was quite slow.
Yeah, I agree with that in a way, because like we had to edit the beginning so much to get each angle of the shots and everything of all of us in. I feel like it didn't work brilliantly, but then it was all we could do. With the footage
we did speed
had.
up. We did speed up the sort of editing in the very beginning with the
So
mirroring
kind of,
shot of everyone spinning
it's
around.
not flowing with the rest of the video, because that has to be a lot faster than the long shots that we have.
Well, that sort of thing was said because most of this criticism was given once we finished and about the finished product, but we did some sort of halfway through editing, and that sort of thing came up, which is why we added the sped up shots at the start of, was it rotating?
Because people were getting boring.
The second person said, I love the beginning because it introduced everyone. I didn't like the title screen though. What was the title screen?
It's where it has the massive attack.
Then it goes into the picture of the collapsed farm. And then suddenly the picture superimposed.
But I think
it's right at the start.
Yeah, but again,
I like that shot.
I like it, but it is very much relevant to the time period of the song. Like, title shots were more frequent in the 90s than what they are now, so evidently that person isn't used to seeing them.
Yeah.
That's sort of
the last bit of criticism for that question we were given was, my favourite part was when the lens zoomed into the girl's face, but I didn't really like the setting of those shots, especially the ones where instruments were used. Before we come on to how much Charlotte hates that shot, the setting we chose because out in the fen there's no hills, is quite bleak, and it kind of worked with the song.
And with the
we've got everything,
as well.
we've got everything happening in the foreground, and the background's quite bleak.
Everything.
There might be the odd tree.
As well, because I had the mist lying in the background.
Yeah, it was
very gloomy.
Very cold and
atmospheric.
Atmosphere.
What do you think? What do you think about your shot, the one where it zoomed into your eye?
No, I like it,
Makes
but then, but at the same time, I'm a bit like.
It's awkward is the main thing. It looks good, but at the same time,
I think for someone that someone who hasn't made it, they might like it.
It's because it's held for a bit too long on that eye at the end. It does get a bit awkward.
Especially with the glasses.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird.
Technically, it's impressive.
Can we call it the Mike Wazowski effect? He's got one eye, hasn't he? Okay, so question 4. Where are the spots that we can improve on? You could polish the opening shots of everyone because they looked rushed.
That, again, is understandable.
They probably were, because...
That was after, when we went back and changed something.
Yeah.
Kind of the last minute thing.
That was...
And it was in the middle of a lesson when everyone else was being taught something.
Yeah, like I said, that was something we did after getting the midway criticism, let's call it. So it was sort of rushed, and obviously trying to fit that in.
But then you can't please everyone. Like some people liked it before we changed it, and then some people liked it once we changed it. So it's kind of trying to find a happy medium. And
also being in school, trying to get everyone free at the same time, that's a bit of a pain. I think it would look better if it was more starkly contrasted colour-wise. Because we tried it in colour, we tried a couple of different methods of colour and filters, Well, one thing we tried at the start, we thought it'd be a good idea, was having the rose in red. But that looked awful. It
just didn't look. It looked way too emo.
So whoever said that, if you watch this video, no, it doesn't.
It was just because the rest of it was black and white, and then having that
colour. But I think
some videos and some songs it works with having some.
If there was red constantly throughout, and that was the only colour,
but what if they meant like more black and white? If that makes sense.
I mean, it worked in Schindler's List, for example. Yeah. But that's because it was one shot, and it was only that coat that was red, rather than in the shot when we tried to do it. It was the whole shot just sort of washed out in comparison to the rest being really starkly black and white. So.
Which is a technical difficulty, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Gary's going to comment on that later, apparently. The last thing it said was the dimensions of the film should have been different, maybe more cinematic. I don't agree with that. I think
there was enough cinematic shots in it.
We did give it a go. I think
the whole thing was crafted around trying to look cinematic.
Yeah, so I don't think they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, we had tried to make something like the letterbox aspect ratio, which we did.
Oh, yeah, we did. So as well as that, we've got some pie graphs, even pie charts. That's the one.
Yeah.
And we're gonna add them on. We've got 2 questions. As you can see, the biggest section is successful, and then that smaller section that's probably a bit less than a quarter is very successful.
This is for the digipack.
Yeah.
And then the average, and that says 4th quarter because someone's decided not to change it.
God,
when they made the pie chart. That was they didn't really like it. I think that's pretty fair because you can't please everyone with your products.
And digipacks, especially nowadays, are a lot more like subjunctive.
Yeah.
And like, I don't like half the ones I see, but I still listen to the music and everything. So.
Still, that's over 3/4 thinking it's successful, very successful.
Well, I don't think it's. Probably might just be me. That I don't really listen to a band based on the music video or the
video. No, it's because you like the band, and we've got some feedback here, and people are like, the colour matches what the song sounds like.
Yeah,
it's
got a theme that runs. That's actually one thing that it says. As well as the graph, we've got a few quotes. One of them was "It's all right" from an enthusiastic person. One of them was "I really like the inside front and outside rear cover," which, as you can see now.
Yeah, the rear cover, outside rear cover, I think was very successful, and people liked it mainly because of the link. Yeah, really strong link with the amps.
And that was another person said the recurring theme was a nice effect. So as well as throughout the digipack and the poster, we've got sort of black and white amps and 3 actors. And then also in the video we've got that. The final pie chart coming up now is the advert success. A few people were asked, how successful would you say this advert is? As you can see, the main section, which is pretty much the lower half, is very successful. Then that darker section, which is almost a quarter, is successful. And the other 2 are average, and then the smallest one is poor. We're pleased with that. The advert was something that was almost left till the last minute.
Yeah,
because we wanted to make sure the other 2 pieces, the digipack and the digipack first.
The picture of the digipack is what we ended up using, just added things.
Yeah, we thought that also would work as a recurring theme.
Yeah, because you see that a lot, like,
yeah.
For example, like the Kings of Leon, one of their albums from like about 6 or 7 years ago, was just the digipack cover onto an advert, like elongated and added a date on it.
One thing that someone said to me the other day that stuck in my mind was that the panel that the CD goes onto, the CD design and the back to that design was just the amp pattern. They quite liked that because it was basic and it still fitted in, but it had a little bit of a contrast. Yeah. Which Arctic Monkeys album, is it Whatever They Say I Am Not?
I can't remember what
the CD to that is an ashtray, and that stands out compared to the others, but it still works because he's smoking in the original image.
Yeah.
That works. And the other quote I've got here is, the band name should be bigger since you're promoting the band as well as the new album. The band logo could also have been incorporated to good effect.
I get where they're coming from, but at the same time...
Yeah, the band logo was really...
Yeah, and I think everything is incorporated pretty equally. And I think it does have a good effect, because at the end of the day, it brings symbiotic marketing. So even if it is the same digipack image used on the advert, it just brings it all together as one big project.
But again, you can't please everyone. For each of those questions, we asked, for about 23, 24 people?
Yeah.
So some media students, some not as well.
Yeah, so we tried to get a nice range.
The average was, it worked, which is all we really needed.
Yeah. So that's almost all of the stuff we've got.
I'm going to talk about target audience.
Well, basically our target audience is, without sounding stupid, it's a bit of everybody. Because you've got the Cocktail Twins, sort of shoegaze area, but then you've also got the hip-hop, trip-hop, Massive Attack sort of, so it kind of leads into everyone.
And you have all the alternative rock on top of that.
Yeah, and because you've got obviously from each band, but I'd never heard of Massive Attack before, because I like shoegaze and stuff. I appreciated the song, and then you've got people that won't like that side of it, but they'll like the other side, so then they'll listen to it. So it is a really broad audience, but that's kind of what makes it good, because then you've got a large age range to play with as well.
Not only that, we can get them for the video as well. We can, because it's such a mix of genres in the song, we can then get a mix of genres in the video. So we really had sort of like unlimited things we could do.
Right, I'd never heard of trip hop before this, but then I listened to Gorillaz quite a lot, which are trip hop.
It's just not something you realise.
Yeah, it's kind of a little tucked away genre which everyone listens to with trip hop, really,
because it is again so wide.
Yeah,
and people listen to it without even knowing that they're listening to it.
So yeah, I think we've got a big target audience. We can't really fail with this.
Yeah. Our audience is everyone.
Apart from maybe like my nan. She's not much of a trip hop kind of gal.
Our fans still here, just to be.
I'm going to talk about technical weaknesses. Our first big problem was when we got to the field and it was really, really muddy. we then had to take all our equipment and stuff into the muddy field, and it was all uneven, so we had to sort of make do with what we've got and level everything out using bricks, and so it created a bit of an issue. And we don't think it shows in our shots since, but
yeah, as Gary said, we used bricks to level out the slider because it was on uneven ground, and we needed just a solid setting really.
It sounds quite weird, but on the shot where Charlotte's laying down, I don't know why we'd overlooked it, but Charlotte was going to lie on the floor, and then in a ploughed field, so we had to get another sheet, which obviously, whether it would be in colour or black and white, is going to stand out. So we spent a solid half an hour figuring out how to compose the shot, but without seeing the bottom sheet.
And then we had even just the top sheet, we had to attach
Oh, yeah, we had some fishing line, didn't we? So we could pull it off, and then we had quite a lot of problems getting that done.
Because that's not technically technical, but at the same time,
you've got to adapt everything else to fit in with it.
Even just simple things like the changing of shoes. I mean, because we had
that was a pain.
Because Gary was supposed to wear his smart shoes because he was wearing a suit,
but because it was so muddy, he could only wear them sporadically.
We had to put some old trainers on him and switch them over when it was over there.
Yeah, so you'd have to walk to shot in these trainers,
and then change him,
replace
throw
him,
him away,
and then change him, and then we'd have to it was a real pain, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then we didn't really have many technical difficulties after that because we'd sort of got it sorted until it came to editing, which Michael did most of. And it was a lot of trial and error because we didn't really know how things were going to work.
But that's mainly because we've never edited a music video before. So
That was one thing I'm so glad, because if we had to do this in sort of the analog era, where we'd be cutting up film, it couldn't have happened.
Splice.
Yeah, but now with sort of what do we use? Final Cut Pro, which little things we could have a copy, duplicate it, try it. If it didn't work, we'd go back to the original and do it another way. If not, we'd just keep it in there.
And we could ask people about many different shots very, very quickly.
And their opinions on them.
Yeah. My name is Jeff. Do you want to stop filling with a fan?
Wait, let me finish with my hot pot.
One technical problem we had whilst editing was the problem of filters, and we did some of our shots all of our shots in black and white, and then we wanted one shot to have a bit of colour in it, which was Charlotte with a rose and lipstick. And we showed a few people, and some of them liked it and some of them didn't. So we had to use our own judgment, and we went for...
I thought it looked tacky.
Tragic.
And also, I realised after we did it that it was sort of a continuity error, because what she's saying, it was supposed to fit in the lyric line, Black Flowers Blossom, and when in colours,
it wasn't black.
It's not even black anymore. So.
Plus, that would have literally been the only colourful thing throughout our entire
fields brown campaign. Showed up as it came up as red.
Yeah, but that was it wasn't so much of a problem to do, but it would have been a technical weakness if we'd have left it in there.
Yeah,
it would have been a weakness.
And the other big editing problem was letterbox, which I don't understand. So,
well, halfway through the course, we got a new media teacher joined the school, and he suggested, for work on other projects, the aspect ratio would look more professional if it was in wide. If it was in letterbox.
Yeah, widescreen letterbox.
Yeah. Which we thought, great. If it looks more professional, get us more marks. Let's chuck it in there. And then I tried it on a few shots,
but it just didn't.
And it looked great. And then all of a sudden, it ran through, and then Charlotte didn't have a head. Gary lost his legs tragically in an accident.
We just shot it in the 16:9 ratio.
Yeah,
therefore it was all framed.
If we'd have actually used that, not filter, but that thing on the lens, just put 2 bits of black tape on the lens, it'd be fine. Because we would have composed a shot like that, and it would have worked. But because it was shot in 16:9, it would only work like that.
Another thing is that if we did it in the letterbox ratio, it would have been a cropped image. And so we would have lost actual quality from our video after it is magnified again.
Yeah.
And I did try, because you can, once you put that on, it's almost like a filter, and then you can move the video image behind it up and down. We tried that, and then Charlotte lost a jaw.
Oh no.
It didn't look very good. So we went back, and that was one of the things we decided with the rose. Although it would be nice to have it in there, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But apart from that, we didn't have many. Anything we wanted that we didn't know how to do, I just YouTubed it or asked for help. Yeah.
I think the main technical weakness was it was freezing and none of us functioned properly.
Yeah.
That was mine.
By none of us function, it means Gary doesn't act in the cold or the warm or at all.
Yeah, when we went to Crowland Abbey, we planned to do a load of shots, and in the end we got about 3, and they were all a bit shaky just because we were so cold and no one wanted to be
there.
Yeah. We got cookies at the end of it.
I got an offer that day, actually. That was a good day. I got an offer at the end of that day. So. But yeah, I don't think there is any really big technical weaknesses. But there
not
are
that
little
we left in.
Yeah, not that we left in. My wink, that would have been a definite technical weakness.
No, it wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't. That would have been good. We should have kept the wink in.
Would this have worked?
No, that would have been fun.
There was a wink that Michael did to Gary in the footage, and it was perfectly in time with the beats. And yeah, I'd want to keep it.
Oh, anyway. My editing skill, yeah, I can cut in time to the beat without even listening to it. That's a skill.
Moving on, how we could have changed our work in different ways, which sort of also links into evidence of redrafting and how we took feedback into consideration. So how pretty much could we have changed our video with taking feedback into consideration?
We did do that a lot.
We did.
One prime example is we've got the test video, which is on my blog further down. That's what we had to start. It's got a lot of holes in it. It's pretty dire. And we're nowhere near polished enough.
Because we got told that we needed to film more as us and more like scenic shots. So that's why we then went to Crowland and filmed the secondary.
Because although we did have permission to use the amp footage,
we didn't want to
overdo it. Yeah. But I think we definitely took on board.
We were told that there was too much of the ants in it, and so we tried to change that in different ways. So we went to Crowland, filmed another section.
Some stuff in here, didn't we?
Yeah.
In school,
yeah, and we also rejigged the ant footage by projecting it onto the whiteboard and then have these 3 stand in front of it with the images displayed over their face.
So yeah, that was a shot which really kind of links into technical weaknesses. We could have probably done on the editing software by taking 2 different shots.
Which I think we should have done.
No, I think it works better. No, it was just so much easier because we used an overhead projector in a classroom and a chair for the short people to stand. And just face different direction. We played it over, which I think the lighting works quite well because it's obviously quite a bright light, and obviously you block the image behind you. And I think the shadow kind of works. It works quite well. I'm pleased with it, and nowhere say it was a bad thing.
Yeah, although it has sort of it's made it harder to work out what is actually being shown on screen. So the narrative element of the ant footage is lost somewhat.
It's not the end of the world because the video is mainly conceptual.
Yeah, and we also have the Crowland footage in comparison with the field footage, which sort of creates the same narrative opposites.
And contrast between a built-up area and a rural area.
There are some images, or we've kept some images of our first or initial digipack and advert ideas.
Which are
here are a few. And those we got feedback on them. So on screen now you can see one of our original ideas, which was, I think I made that one, is the clouds with the ant. Is that a cartoon ant? I don't know.
Yeah.
What, this one?
And then us flipped. Yeah.
I really liked it, but I can see why.
I think it looks a bit amateurish.
The mezzanine one with the ant in the background looks a lot better.
It's purely because it was too, like, the silhouettes were too dark.
Yeah.
And it kind of took away from the fact that it linked to the video in that sense. So.
And at the end of the day, it's for the audience.
And it was in colour.
The audience is to. It's all been made for the audience to like it and so buy a product. And they've clearly said in the quotes that just why is the ant floating there? It doesn't fit in, just things like that. There's another one here saying it just looks tacky and why the head's floating, which we'll see now.
Oh yeah, the image that I think it was the first one I did. I just got Photoshop and I was trying to play around with it.
Yeah.
And Charlotte tested this one because she doesn't like floating heads.
I don't like floating heads.
It does kind of look like Gary's head, which is the middle one. It's floating on the horizon, which I wish that could be done better. But yeah, that was sort of just a play around to see what we could do and what we could, because it fits in colour-wise and different ones like that. But
so yeah, we just listened to what the audience said, and if they didn't like it, we tried to rectify it.
Which is what we did, and it worked.
Yeah. I think this one here, which is got the ant and the wasp and us 3 stood in height order.
That was the one we did together.
That looks a bit like the front page of an encyclopedia.
That was morphed into what became our inside front cover of the mirrored images.
Yeah, because it's a good. I like the way it looks, but it's just not professional enough to.
Because our inside front cover's got
Me and Michael made it very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite I think I did that in probably about 15 minutes. Our inside front cover was quite empty at the top, and the first draft I sent to these three was it flipped, and they said, why are they upside down? It's not Australia, and so I got rid of that one, and we liked the openness of it.
Yeah.
There wasn't an initial idea to put the copyright stuff on top, but that one on the back it was more.
It's easier to put it.
And fitting.
And
there's a word.
The logo looks really good.
Convention. It was more conventional, which is what we're about.
There we go then.
And I've also linked in with the rest of the video of opposites and mirror images, etc.
So Charlotte's going to send us out there.
Bye guys.